Hi everyone. Um, let's start with what is the bankers' smart money? What is their idea behind it? What is the concept? What are they trying to do, and how do they go about it? Okay, so let's just start maybe with a line through the middle. I apologize if you know a lot of this stuff. I don't know what sort of level you guys are at, so I can just try and cover it all. And hopefully some of it will make sense, some of it will help, maybe some won't, maybe you've heard about some stuff before. On my mouse. So what we've got is price going up into this area. So a lot of people would be looking to sell from here. Okay, because let's just say previously prices hits once, come away, hits again, come back down, and then obviously the third time has come into this area and wants to drop away. Yeah, this is a typical retail trader trade, stuff that people will learn off YouTube. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it, and it does work to a certain extent. But at some point, smart money, the banks are going to take people out. So, which I will show you a bit later on. So, like I said, some people will go off support and resistance lines, or some people will go off trend lines, up or down. Yeah, where you've got a minimum of 3 touches. So when price action touches once, twice, 3 times, and then sells off. Okay, so this and this is pretty much the same. This is obviously just a line through the middle. So support and resistant, support and resistant lines or key levels. Yeah, so you got 1, 2, 3. It can be as many touches as you want. So Tom, Dick, and Harry, which I've learned stuff off YouTube, which again, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. This is how I used to trade, but it used to get me very, very frustrated because I didn't always get, let's say, 85, 90% success rate. Okay, so like I say, what the banks are trying to do is take people out. Okay, so let's say, let's call a guy Jack for whatever reason. Okay, so Jack is looking to sell from here, yeah, down to possibly these lows here. Okay, so what the banks know and what price does do, because it's all based on an algorithm now. Yeah, the forex markets are just algorithm robotic systems. So when it sees a gap, such as IPA, improper price action, or imbalance, or equal highs or equal lows, it will target them. Okay, and obviously this is what people understand, including retail traders. If you don't know what retail traders is, it's just your general Joe Blogs guy that's learned stuff off YouTube, or that's just gone in sort of blind, which again, I put my hands up, I've done that. And then just sort of kind of hope for the best. But to me, it's borderline, what do you call it? Borderline gambling, really. Okay. So what the banks will do, they will allow this to happen. Okay, they'll push the retail traders into profit, and then they will come back, sometimes possibly take them out, like usually, every time they will take them out. Yeah, this is a wick, sorry for my drawing. This is a wick, that's the FU candle, so it's called an FU candle, fuck you candle, by the banks. It takes people out, and then what happens? Comes back down again. Obviously, bear in mind these are now out. Okay, these retail traders are now out because their stop losses are above here. That's what the banks know. This is what we know with smart money. We're looking for liquidity to be taken out. So liquidity is sat here. Okay. If you don't know what liquidity is, it's just millions and millions of worth of money or people's stop losses. Yeah, sat there. So obviously, all this here is taken out by the banks, and then what it does it goes back into profit again. Yeah, and then it comes back to mitigate out of this position here. Okay, so now why do the banks need to mitigate back out of this position? Because what they have done here is pushed it up very, very, very hard. Yeah, so we now need this to happen. Okay, so price, remember that the stop loss is irrelevant now because banks don't use stop losses, they just hedge against each other. If you don't know what hedge is, it's pretty much like a seesaw. Okay, they go up and down opposite, they just trade against themselves basically. Yeah, I would highly not recommend doing it at all unless you're talking 4, 5, 6 million pound accounts. I still wouldn't be comfortable doing it then, really. Yeah, so what's happened now is the banks have pushed price up very, very hard and then quickly down. Okay, so this is why we see engulfing candles. Okay, I won't go into that now, I'll cover it later. Yeah, but you see in here, you'll see a big wick up or a big strong candle upwards to take all this liquidity out and then drop down. Okay, so when the banks do this, obviously they get in on the yellow line, okay, the orange or yellow line. Let's say, yeah, around here, okay? So now this is negative to them, right? Because they got in here, they pushed up, this originally was green because they were in profit. Yeah, and to move 1 pip in the market, you need to have £100,000 behind you basically to move just 1 pip in the market. Yeah, so obviously the banks are playing with literally billions, if not trillions of pounds, so they are able to do that, and that is why they're the masters, they're the sharks in the game, and that's who we want to follow. We will never beat them, so we're just gonna have to understand what they do and trade alongside them, or just be the little fish behind the shark and take what we can. Okay, so just bear in mind the banks are now in drawdown, okay, because they got in a buy here, they push price up to make it easier for you. They're now so bear with me, that should be green because that's positive. Yeah, that's in the right direction that they wanted to go. Let's say this one is obviously red. Yeah, okay, so this is negative drawdown now. So the easiest way I could explain it to you is the yellow line is let's take a bank balance of 0. Okay, we first open our bank balance, a bank account, let's say, I don't know, when we're 16, say. Yeah, we've got 0 in there until obviously we start putting money in there. But what happens, unfortunately to some people, it does actually happen, is if they go instantly into an overdraft, or even if they put £1,600 in there, yeah, which is obviously profit, yeah, we're in the green, we're good. If they spend that 1,006 and then the minus into the overdraft, let's say, I don't know, £4,000. Okay, this is now minus £4,000 for the bank. Okay, they're obviously playing with millions and millions, but just for this example, we'll use 4,000. Yeah, so in here, they're now in negative drawdown. Okay, so what they need to do is they need to come back. They will allow this to happen. Yeah, and this is what we are trying to configure, is where is the banks in drawdown. Okay, so they need to come back up to this yellow line. We need to come back from £4,000 negative We've spent £4,000 on a holiday, maybe, yeah, negative in an overdraft. We start to pay it back. We're now at 3,000. We're now at 2,000, minus 2,000, minus 1,000, and this is break even. Okay, we've just paid back our credit card or our overdraft of £4,000 back. Okay, and that's what the banks understand. So they've come back onto the orange line. What is this? We're now sat at zero. So the banks, so this deal here, this big push up of profit, they can now close that at zero. Yeah, so you may be thinking, well, why are they closing at zero when they could have taken profit from here? It happens very, very, very quickly. Yeah, and the banks, I don't think, have much time to do it. And it's the whole concept of it. Yeah, that works. So like I said, the banks push price up very quickly. Then we get a big engulfing candle down. Yes, it's negative equity for the banks, but they have the balance to take this sort of on the chin. Yeah, they can allow that leeway to happen. Okay, so back up into zero. So they will close this one out. Yeah, so they're pretty much back at break even, but that's not what they're interested in. Yeah, and this is where we want to be interested in. We understand this concept, but what we're looking at, and the banks mainly, as soon as they mitigate from there, what happens? A major push down, and that is what we want to capitalize on. Okay, so if that doesn't make sense to you, let's try and find some examples of it. Okay, so if you can find one. Okay, that's an example, but it's not been mitigated yet. We can still use it, just an example. So this is our orange line early on, our yellow line, yeah? This is zero, remember? Let's draw that properly. Zero to there. So look what's happened. Banks have pushed price up hard here, this green wick, to take all these people out. Because people would be sitting around here, yeah? Also above this one as well. Okay, so there's liquidity, there's money, there's pools of money sat along here, along there, along there, along there, along there. Okay, so you can just see, if I mark this out for you, top of this wick here, yeah, the orange line, that's slightly below, isn't it? So their stop losses, people's stop losses, the retail traders, their stop losses would be just above this wick here, just above this wick here. The banks literally take all this out, this massive pool of liquidity that's sat up here very, very quickly, and then slams down. See the big engulfing slam down? Yeah, and where did they leave money? So where do the bank needs to come back up to? Over time, it could take 3 seconds, it could take 3 days, it could be 40 years, and it's happened before now. Yeah, there's one pair, I don't remember what it was, it's from 1983. The banks have only just come back to mitigate out of it. This was about 18 months ago. Yeah, so what we do is we mark them out. Yeah. So this little noggin here, if you can see it, this is the last up before the down move. That is where the banks push price up to push price down. But remember, all of this in here, this is massive negative. Yeah, we're in our overdraft here. Yeah, this is our credit card. We've spending the banks in negative equity. So we are waiting for price to come back up to here into this black line to then sell. Okay, so no, it's not guaranteed that the price will come back up to there. Well, it will come back up to there. It's not guaranteed that price will reject off there. There's a very likelihood it will, because we've got different factors that we can cover later on a different video. So that's the whole concept of smart money. Okay, so at the moment, all of this is negative. Yeah. Remember what they've done is they bought here. This mouse, sorry guys. Yeah, they pushed price up here. Remember this wick in here. Then all of a sudden the profit, let's say, I don't know, They had £1.6 million in profit here. They push also at the same time, they push price down immediately, fast. Okay. So it basically takes people out quickly, retail traders, which they're like, oh my God, yeah, what's just happened? Yeah, see, this is what I was saying earlier on. People will enter here. They will allow a little bit, so they'll dangle the carrot. All the retail people like, oh my God, this is good. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm the best trader in the world. I'm in profit. What happens then? It comes back up, shoots up quickly, you know, and unless you know the concept and what the bank's trying to do, like I used to, did not know what they were doing or what was going on. I used to get very, very, very annoyed. I didn't even understand to move my stop loss to break even or stop profit or anything like that. It's just, you literally just don't know, okay, until obviously somebody tells you. If you understand the concept, then yeah, you can be clever enough to move your stuff. But, you know, saying that, why would you want to trade from there to there, 140 pips, when you could possibly, let's just say it comes back up to this black line. Let's say from there down to these lows, get back to these lows, 600 and let's say 620 pips. Yeah, why do you want to trade that when you can just be patient and wait for this big move? And that's what we're trying to get at. Yeah, that's what bankers are trying to get at. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. That's the concept of the banks. That's what they do. They move price very, very quickly. They've obviously pushed price down, all this price down. Yeah, and in there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about on a different video. But this is pretty much an introduction of what the banks are trying to do, how they manipulate the markets on purpose. And obviously what we're trying to do is just jump on the back of it. Yeah, just earn some pennies off it. Yeah, because like I say, we'll never be them, because they are literally the god of Forex. Yeah, they've got the most money to play around with. So it's literally, let's find an actual example for you, maybe on the 1 hour. The concept of it was, yeah, so it's actually happened here. Okay, so remember the red line was liquidity, people stop losses, yeah, retail traders. Yeah, so what we did have was a liquidity wipe. It took out the stop losses. It came down, broke a structure, came back up into mitigate out of this here. Okay, because they bought, the banks bought here, they bought up to sell down. Okay, so the banks bought here. So as soon as obviously they come to the black line, they're zero, they're break even. So I'm sure the banks would have obviously taken it. They did do. Price came back up to here. See this purple candle pushed up on the wick. I don't know how much is that. Let's say what, 20 pips maybe. Yeah, it wasn't far off. 17 pips. Okay, so the banks playing with massive lot sizes, remember, are 17 pips now in profit. Okay, so they would have closed that position out and then dropped the way that these retail traders wanted to originally go. Okay, so it looks a bit different now because it's on a different time frame. Beforehand, I was on the 4 hour. Okay, so this is still active because price so far has not come back up to here. Yeah, but when it does, you know, there's things that we can try and make it probable to in our favor, to make it happen, to make it reject and make it have that sell that we want to, and that's where we try and capitalize on. But yeah, I'll leave it at that as an introduction. So I hope that helps, and I'll catch you on the next video.